Wondering what you can expect at your first open house? Find out next on the Rose at Home channel, where I'm Rose.
And I'm Liam.
And let's start right from the beginning. You can expect a lot of signs. If you're worried about getting lost, there tend to be at least a sign at the end of the road and then a sign next to the for sale sign in the yard. So it's really hard to end up at the wrong house. It hasn't happened to us yet. There's going to be a lot of signs. There's going to be a lot of things leading you up to the open house. So don't worry about getting lost. They've helped you out.
You're going to learn really fast the fact that this is a very short process. Those little guys are only going to be in there for like 2 hours. So your entire thing is that you're only going to show up there for maybe 10, 15 minutes at most, unless you're chatting, say, with the realtor or the real estate agent. Don't expect this to be a long process. In fact, since a lot of them take place around the exact same time, you're gonna maybe hit like one for 15 minutes, drive like 10 minutes, and then hit another one, and then another one. They're like bite-sized snacks. It's like dragons eating cows. You can just pick one up eating like the handful, like popcorn chicken. Except for like houses and people and lives and families. Popcorn chicken of families.
Most open houses are scheduled to last only about 2 hours. So if you have a lot of open houses you want to hit, try to arrange them in a similar location, put the ones that are all near each other together, and even then there's a good chance you're not going to get to a fourth. We've never been able to hit a fourth. They're all only 2 hours long, and the drive time plus the time you're in the house means you're just not going to be able to see a ton of them in a day if they're all at the same time. They also tend to be in early afternoon. That's been our experience.
I've seen some in the evening.
But yes, don't expect that you're going to have to be there for 2 hours, or don't think that you have to be there at the start time. That's not how it works. You walk in, you're there, like he said, about 10 to 15 minutes, and then you're done. The third thing you can expect is there will, at a minimum, be a real estate agent there. Sometimes there are more people than just the agent. We've been to open houses, multiple, where there's been the agent and a lender from a lending company. They offer you their services. They don't push their services on you. You're not required to use their services if you already have a lender. But if you jive with them, you might want to contact them when you're ready to get your pre-approval if you haven't already. We've also been to one open house that had a credit specialist there as well. I'm not sure who she worked for, but she was there as well. So there were 3 professionals who were there. It was really beneficial to have different people to talk to. She gave me some great advice for free. Didn't ask for anything, didn't want anything. You can expect at least an agent, sometimes an agent and a lender, and occasionally an agent, a lender, and a credit specialist.
The SEAL Team 6 of selling houses. Ever been to a place and thought, wow, this place smells funny? That's the family scent. Every family has its own distinct scent, leading up to every house having its own distinct kind of smelly smell. Some smells are pretty smell. However, whenever you're going open housing, you're gonna learn that every house smells about as exactly as what you'd think. On television, they do this thing where they show the fact that they're like, oh, we bake cookies in order to make the house smell nice. They don't do that. They lie to you.
No.
Don't trust them.
We've never been to a house where they baked cookies before the open house to make the house smell good. Either the house stinks or it's pretty much non-scented. I was disappointed at the no cookie thing. I really thought, because I've watched like on Property Brothers and all of those different shows. We're not sponsored at all by anybody. Who would sponsor us?
Go home, Property Brothers.
Yes. But I've on all those HGTV shows where they are selling houses and they talk about, yes, these are the cookies that we baked fresh here for the open house, so the house will smell like fresh baked goods. No. Never.
They're lying
Not
to you.
a single time has that been a thing. We've been disappointed. We have had snacks.
That is true.
There have been, not the majority, but there have been some houses that had water. There was one house that actually had cookies. There was another one with snacks, but I didn't notice them. He did.
I did. There was like a meat platter with cheeses.
Oh, it was a charcuterie.
That's a charcuterie.
There was I remember that. There was one house had a charcuterie board. I did not eat the charcuterie from the charcuterie board. I thought that was weird.
The charcuterie was full of chicanery, and I just thought it was great.
Yes, he had the charcuterie. But the other house did have cookies, but they bought them from Publix Bakery, and they were still in the plastic container from Publix.
Really good.
They were great. They weren't baked there, though, so no bakery scent whatsoever.
Well, that's okay. We all live with disappointments. t-shirts. Wow. What a
What a
house.
house. We need to get t-shirts. Wow, what a house. The next thing you can expect. So you follow the signs, you get there, and I left this off our list, but so I'm going to mention it now, although it screws up our order.
She's gonna do it.
Put this down. Do not think that no one's there if no one is in the driveway. Most, not all of the time, but most of the time, the real estate agent does not park in the driveway. They park it on the street in front of the house if that is possible. We've had agents who parked in the driveway twice. Both times they were longer driveways, and so they didn't have to worry about maybe blocking spaces for the people who are coming to the open houses. So if you pull up and there's signs but no one's in the driveway, that's okay. The agent is probably the car that is there on the street. I personally also do not park in the driveway because I don't want someone to arrive after me and block me in. I want to be able to go when I'm ready to go. So you've parked, you're going into the open house.
You parked, and you're going into the open house. Just picture this now.
You meet the person who is the realtor. One other thing I want to say about the realtor, every time but one, they've been pleasant. Some have been more chatty than others. I'm not a huge small talk person, but I do like to talk about what's going on. I like to talk about the house, and we're going to talk about questions in a minute. So I'll try to talk to them. Most will have a conversation. We've only had one negative experience with a realtor at an open house, and if you are curious about that, we made an entire video on it. Go and check out our best and worst open houses video that we made a few weeks ago. Other than that, the folks who have manned these have been very, very pleasant. The first thing that you expect when you go in, you will meet the person. They should stand up and come over and talk to you, say hello, unless they are talking to someone else who is also touring the house. Almost every time there has been a sign-up sheet where they want your name, they want your phone number to text you, they want your email to email you, and they ask if you already have an agent. The reason they are asking this is because the folks who are working at the open houses, the best that we can tell, tend to be kind of double dipping. For the larger real estate agencies, the person who's manning the open house isn't always the person who is actually representing the house. They have the newer agents who will man the open house, and they're doing that, yes, to show the house, but also to get clients of their own for the list. So you go in, you fill out the sheet. If you're not represented by anybody, they will talk to you about representing you themselves. Even the agents that I have filled out the sheet and said that I already have somebody who is representing me, they will still message me via either text or email and try to keep in touch. That's their job. They're trying to make money. Don't look poorly on it. It's just kind of the way that it goes. So if you don't want those messages, you can say, I already have an agent. They're probably going to message you anyway, but they're not super persistent. They will message the one time if you don't respond, which the girl from the bad open house sent me a message asking to, even though I had put on there that I was already represented, and actually I'm already represented by someone who works at the same real estate agency that she does. Yikes. So anyway, I said that I was already represented. She still contacted me. There was no way I would ever work with her. I would hope to never actually have to see her again in reference to my house search, because that was really the most unpleasant thing I've had to deal with so far.
So you might be thinking to yourself, when I go to an open house, what am I going to say to the guys who are there? Because trust me, I don't want them to fall in love with me, and I don't want to fall in love with them. So what do I say to them to kind of keep them away from me, but also to learn a lot about the house? Trust me, there are a lot of questions you can ask, and trust me, you've been thinking about it. I know you have. I can see it in your eyes. What do you ask? Well, the first thing I do, I grab them by their collar.
No, he doesn't.
I don't. I look at them very respectfully.
He does.
I wipe them off after grabbing them.
He doesn't wipe anything.
And I look at them and I go, why are they selling the house?
Yes.
It's one of the best questions you can honestly ask. Why are they selling the house? Because it gives you a lot of options, and it lets you learn about things about what's happening and about why.
Yes.
First of all, if they say maybe the client needs to sell their house as fast as they can, maybe they moved upstate to upstate New York, maybe in Monica, maybe Utica, or maybe their house is haunted and they want to leave it.
It'll tip you off as to how motivated the seller is. If they've already bought another house in another state and they're already moved out, they need to sell quickly.
Like
so they
right
might
now.
be more likely to work with you. They just feel like moving to something bigger and they don't have a time frame. That's fine too. The one house we went to where they had a baby crib in the bedroom, quite obviously they needed a bigger house. That was an easy answer. Saying they need a bigger house isn't a bad answer. That's not going to turn me off to the house. The walls bleed. at night, red blood, yeah, that probably would turn me off to the house.
You know what? But if they told me that, I'd buy it probably. I'd be like, I respect that. That's a cool feature.
There are folks who would absolutely be like, haunted, sign me up.
I want the blood house.
Yes.
Think you could start up a blood donation clinic. Dude, you're winning. 10 out of 10.
Yes.
Slope gang.
Yes.
Slopes in the blood, yeah.
So it is a good question. It does let you know how motivated they are as sellers. It can let you know kind of what's going on. So it's a really good question to ask. Another really important question
is like, when did they update the roof? And also like AC, and just basically when everything was updated. Because that's a very important part about houses. The features that keep you alive. For roofing, we get a lot of rain, and like right now is the dry season, but we still get we just had a hurricane a day ago. AC, you probably need AC. Hey, when was that updated? That'd be really neat. And again, roofing, if it snows, that's important. If it rains, it's really important. If it just gets hot, dude, you kind of need that, man. So just double checking, hey, when was all that done? And usually they'll be on the paper that they usually hand. There's usually like papers that they hand out, and you can look and it'll see the dates upon everything. But if it doesn't, or if you just want to have further insights, just ask them and they'll answer, because most of the time, 9 times out of 10, they'll know and they'll keep track of that.
They should know. And if they don't know, that to me is another red flag about this agent. How do you not know how old the most expensive and most important systems are in this house?
A next question I'd ask personally is, how's the neighborhood? It's a really simple one, it's a quick one, and a lot of the time you don't get the nicest answer. Usually it's just like, oh, I'm not sure, but it seems nice. But again, sometimes the realtors do know, because they've been here maybe once or twice, they get a good feel for the land and the layout and the people. And sometimes you get like, oh, it's really nice, or oh, I met this and such down the street, or the neighbors all seem really sweet. Something like that is another thing that's just like, you can get a good vibe and good feel for the neighborhood. Especially, if you look at their eyes, you can see a shift if it's just like, it's all right. Yeah. Nice place. It's just like, okay, all right.
Yeah. They're probably not going to say, oh, the neighbor is absolutely insane and will probably come over with a chainsaw.
They'll kill you.
They're not going to tell you that. But again, you can kind of see a bit in the eyes. But the thing is that if it's a really good neighborhood and the seller has had conversations with them about how much they're going to miss their neighbors and how much they love their neighbors, they will tell you that, because that is a selling point for the house.
It's a beautiful selling point.
So them saying I don't know for that one is not a red flag. It doesn't mean anything. But if they do answer, and they're going to answer in the affirmative if they are going to answer,
points.
But it absolutely will add to your personal love value for a property and for a house if they say like the neighbors are amazing and awesome. It just gives you that extra like, okay, this one needs to really stay on the list. So what happens next, you fill out the thing, they'll talk to you for a little bit. Most of the time they will let you go walk around on your own, and they'll say, I'll be right here. They tend to hang out in the kitchen.
They love the kitchen. It's the heart of the house.
Most of the time they'll have you walk around alone. I think once or twice they kind of walked with us and answered any questions or continued any conversation that we were having, but they let you kind of go and they hang out in the kitchen.
One thing we tried to do that we noticed not many other people do is go into the backyard.
Yeah, maybe it's because the outdoor space is important to me. I've been in a apartment dweller for pretty much my entire adult life, and so having a backyard is going to be a new and awesome experience for me. But yeah, they walk around the house and they never go outside. I think you can learn a lot about a house from the outside. The one house that we really liked, but we discovered the entire backyard was sand. That was something I would have to think about, because sand easily washes away. Grass doesn't grow to hold it in and have the roots. It had the weird post with the alarm system on it, just sticking up in the middle of the yard. I thought that was bizarre, but I would have never known about that had I not gone outside. Now that house I probably would have still been interested in without knowing, but it's always better to go in with as much knowledge as possible. And so backyards are important.
Yeah.
What is outside matters. Also, how close is the next house? What type of fence is that? Not all pictures in Zillow will show you that. So if you've got like chain link fence and there's a giant, really gnarly dog next door, going outside will tell you that. If there is pretty much no space outside your back door and there's no backyard, that's also going to tell you that. Are you comfortable with that? All of those things, you got to go outside to see. So don't just walk around the inside. check that outside back door, side door, open those doors and take a look, at least if you don't want to walk around out there, and see what the exterior of the property looks like. And so finally, leaving. We like to just say thank you, appreciate it.
Grab some food if they have it.
If they have, or a bottle of water or something. There's no expectations. Nobody expects you to go sign anything or do anything. They will ask you sometimes to take their card or to take some information with you. Take the stuff. Take all the things. But other than that, it's a thank you and a go. And if they're talking to someone else, I'll just kind of wave at them, and that'll be the end of that. So, but yeah, don't think you have to stay for anything specific. There's nothing, just you're free to go. Again, this is why I don't park in the driveway, so that I can make sure to get out the door.
Get in, get out, like a thief in the night. A thief of love. Love for homes.
Want to see what these open houses have been like for us? I'm going to link a playlist of our visiting open houses right here on top of Liam's face, and we can't wait to see you again next week. We've got what I hope is going to be an amazing and interesting video coming up, so watch this video and we will see you next week. Bye!
Get this off of me! Ah!